Welcome to another deck garage video. Today I'm going to be taking one of my 2015 decks and bringing it to a 2016 format for Yugioh DevPro. This is the 2015 Harpie deck which I was using for Legacy of the Duelist. You should have seen a deck profile and a episode of me using this against someone yesterday. And today I'm going to be bringing this towards a more modern environment and trying to see what changes I have to make in order to make it a bit more relevant. So this is the deck as it exactly was in Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist. I'm not going to go through all the cards there. I've already done a deck profile video, and if you guys want to hear these explain a bit more about how it works or see how it works, feel free to see some of my more recent Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist videos for that. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start taking out some of the stuff which I think are either no good or have been or are not allowed in this format. So from this build, as you can often see, there's loads of ones on this deck list, and that means these cards are limited, or if they have a little crossover them, it means they've been banned. So the main cards here, which unfortunately have been affected, are Vanity's Emptiness, which is now restricted to 1 copy per deck. So unfortunately I have to get rid of 2 of those. And then we have Exeter Knight and Laval Chain, which also got banned. So unfortunately we've lost... we haven't really lost too much from this deck. I didn't really find myself using Exeter Knight or the Valval Chain much in Legacy of the Duelist, although they are still quite useful, and they could have been more useful in this format with the way the format currently works, but unfortunately we can't use them anymore. Also, there's a couple of cards here which I feel like I definitely want to take out. I'm not sure how relevant Ragnar Zero is anymore. It's nice that it works in other player's turn, but I'm not really too sure how many decks run cards which modify a monster's attack or defense. I think some pendulum decks do it, but not every single deck does it, so I'm going to take those 2 out for the time being. And also I'm going to take out this Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon. I've never really found myself using this card. It's a fun card to have, but it's really just taking up space in this deck. Now, what I've done before this video is and also I'm taking out the 2 copies of MST here. Now what I've done before starting up this video is I've taken out a ton of cards which I went searching through the DevPro database for cards which I thought were relevant to the 2016 environment. Now I tried to make a new build. Now what I want to really focus on with this deck is a particular floodgate card, and that is Anti-Spell Fragrance. Anti-Spell Fragrance is a very popular and very strong card right now. It cripples a lot of decks, particularly pendulum cards. Pendulum cards with Anti-Spell Fragrance on the field cannot be used in their pendulum zones because they can't be set in their pendulum zones, as well as it also slows down a lot of other plays in many other decks. So Anti-Spell Fragrance is really strong right now. However, in this deck there is no real way of searching it out, and I think if I recall correctly, I did some testing on Legacy of the Duelist and I think I maybe only got it once or twice out of all the duels which I already got. So I wanted to make it a bit more consistent. I want to increase the chance of getting this out. If I can get this out in the first turn, and I have to go first against my opponent, then it'll be really great, and it will really help this deck start moving. There are some more cards which I want to take out of this deck, and those cards are Sephiroth the Elite. Sephiroth the Elite is a very good card, but with no real quick way of sending him to the graveyard, he's not as useful as he is in, say, an Armageddon Knight synchro deck. So I'm going to take him out. And the next one you guys can debate about or tell me whether you think it's a good idea. I'm going to take out these 3 copies of Fiendish Chain. The reason why I'm taking those out is because in the current format it seems that mass removal really is the name of the game. Single target negation is still kind of good, but there's still a lot of cards which protect themselves from being targeted on the field. And because monsters are so easy to be special summoned in this day and age, it's really easy to get rid of cards which are negated by Fiendish Chain. So the format is not as slow as it used to be. It's really quick, in fact. Also, I'm going to get rid of 1 copy of Hysteric Sign, get that out of the way, and I think I might also get rid of 1 copy of Elegant Egotist, because drawing into too many of these too early really hurts Hysteric Sign, and I'm getting rid of 1 copy of Hysteric Sign for more drawing cards and searching cards. Also, I'm taking that Compulsory Evacuation device similarly for the same reason as Fiendish Chain, and I think that's it for the major changes. So there's a lot of room in this deck here, and a lot of room in the extra deck to be added. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to the build which I have made earlier on, and yeah, let's go into that now. So here's my Harpie Lady January 2016 deck. Now before I do, please do not take this as a deck profile video. This is a deck garage video. The difference being that this is an untested deck. I do not know how well it runs yet. This is just what I'm going on based on my personal experience and my prior knowledge of the game and what I think could be a good build. I aim to be testing this out a lot this week, and I'm expected to make some major changes, and also hopefully someone will give me feedback from the community that will say, oh nah bruh, change this ain't gonna work as good as you think it is. So first of all, let's go through the deck list quite quickly. I'm not gonna go into any detail of any cards which I already spoke about in the previous deck profile videos, but what we have here are still 3 copies of Harpie Queen, 1 copy of Cyber Harpie Lady, backed with 2 copies of Harpie Lady 1. I haven't tested those out yet, but I think they're still okay to have. Now, a brand new card here we have is Harpie Harpist. Harpie Harpist is not in Legacy of the Duelist, and I can't wait till she arrives, but she's a fantastic versatile card for 2 reasons. First of all, she's a Harpie Lady on the field or in the graveyard. Triggers of Harpie's Hunting Ground is shares of works with Elegant Egotist and all that jazz. Then her first effect, which you can only use each of these effects once per turn, but her first effect is that when she is normal summoned, you can target 1 winged beast monster you control, maybe most likely herself, and one could face up monster your opponent controls and return them to the hand. That's really good for getting rid of pendulum threats or any monsters which really come from the extra deck, and it's like a really free costing version of Compulsory Evacuation device. And with cards like Harpie Dancer, it's good to be able to get more extra normal summons in a turn. So there's 3 copies of that, plus her second effect is that when she is sent to the graveyard this turn, that could be from the field, from the deck, from your hand if say being discarded. Then when she is sent to the graveyard this turn, you can add 1 level 4 winged beast type monster from your deck to your hand in the end phase. So that could be Harpie Chandler, Harpie Lady 1, or Harpie Dancer. I think that's really great. Or another copy of Harpie. No, you can't do her herself. But that's really great. It's an extra search tool. It speeds up the deck a bit more. Really versatile, and it can be sent to the deck graveyard in many ways. In fact, I'm almost tempted to run Foolish Burial in this deck, because Foolish Burial, Harpies really make good use of the graveyard with Hysteric Party, so maybe Foolish Burial will be a good addition in here, but I won't add it just yet. 3 copies of Harpie Chandler as before, and 2 copies of Harpie Dancer this time. I reduced 1 just because I found Harpie Dancer is really good, but she's very much a combo card, and sometimes I find myself with Harpie Dancer and no real way to make good use of her effect. If she's searched out, say, via Harpie Chandler, it's really good because Harpie Chandler special summons in defense, and you can bounce her back to your hand and swap it with something else. But not in every single situation was Harpie Dancer really great, so I'm only going to keep 2 copies of her for now. Right, now we got spell cards. We got Raigeki. I'll talk about 1 copy of Elegant Egotist, and 2 copies of Hysteric Sign, and 3 copies of Harpie's Hunting Ground. Now I've decided to go with 3 copies of these just because of the free advantage they give you in terms of free economy, and also it's a card which I really want on my first turn plays. I really want her out with Anti-Spell Fragrance to take advantage of my opponents having to set cards and really get rid of those threats. So I'm going to try this out, but I might need to take it out for, say, MST or Twin Twister. If you guys think I should, let me know down in the comments below. Now, as I spoke about in my last video, earlier in this video, it is the aim of this deck is to get out Anti-Spell Fragrance as quick as possible. So I wanted to add more cards to my deck, which can either draw cards or add cards to my hand and get through my deck as quick as possible, so I can get this ideally on turn 1 or turn 2. So I added 3 copies of Upstart Goblin. Normally I'm hesitant to run Upstart Goblin because you have to have a deck which can really swing hard. This deck sometimes can swing really hard, and if it can lock down your opponent early in the game, it could be good, so the extra 1,009 points isn't going to really hurt too much, but we'll see how it goes. 3 copies of Pot of Duality, just for consistency and to search through your deck a bit more, hopefully getting me to 8 Anti-Spell Fragrance quicker, and 2 copies of Chicken Game. I've been recommended to use Chicken Game in other decks and other videos. I'm not sure how well it's going to work. The idea behind this is to get out Chicken Game with either terraforming or drawing into it early as possible, and then to replace it with Harpie's Hunting Ground when I'm done, so I can draw cards and my opponent can't really take any advantage of using it, and hopefully it just adds more filling to the deck. along with the 3 copies of Upstart Goblin. So yeah, hopefully that works for speeding that up. I will see how it goes, but I have no idea at this point. Then we've got 1 copy of Bottomless, Vanities, 1 copy of Icarus Attack, 1 Torrential Tribute, 3 Anti-Spell, 2 Hysteric Party, and 1 Solemn Warning. For the extra deck, there's quite a few new monsters which have added to this. We've got the same culprits as before. Now, my experience with what really works in terms of having a good rank 4 toolbox in this day and age is quite limited. I need to brush up on that more, but this is what I found so far. First of all, we've got number 82, Heartland Draco. When you control a face-up spell card, this card cannot be targeted for attacks. Once per turn, you can detach 1 XE material for this card this turn, and this card can attack your opponent directly, but other monsters cannot attack. I would really only use this if I really wanted to end games and really do a quick 2000 damage to my opponent. That's really the only time when I would really use this type of card. Otherwise, I don't know how useful it can be, but it's kind of like a bigger version of Gagaga Cowboy, except that it's not effect damage, it's direct damage or through attack. Utopia. I've added in 1 copy of number 39 Utopia, mostly because to summon Utopia Prime. I might be mistaken about this, but one of my good friends, Rivaz619, suggested that people should start running Utopia Prime. This card can be special summoned using the number 39 Utopia as the XE material. And what you can do is, if your opponent's life points is 3000 higher than yours, you can attach 3 materials from this card and pay life points so you only have 10 life points left. A very, very big costing card. You know, this has to be a game winning card really. And what you get to do by doing that is you get to destroy as many special summon monsters your opponent controls as possible. If you do, banish them and then inflict 3000 damage to your opponent, 300 damage to your opponent for each monster banished. This is to counter pendulums, it's to counter several other types of decks that like to swarm. It's really kind of an all or nothing card there, and reducing your life points to 10 is very, very costly. So I've got to be careful with this one. I'm going to try it out and see if it's useful, but we'll find out in the near future. I've added in 1 copy of number 80, Rhapsody in Berserk, for Graveyard Control. Graveyard Control wasn't really too good when pendulums were really running wild and rampant, but Burning Abyss have come back in a big wave thanks to Fiendish Grieving, and Monarchs have a lot of Graveyard Control with Super Quantums, so having Graveyard Control can be really, really good. And Rhapsody in Berserk can banish 2 monsters from the graveyard, so I've added him in there if I need it. Giant Hand, this was a card which was not in Legacy of the Duelist but was out last year. This card is really great because you can, in either player's turn, you can detach 2 XE materials from it and then target 1 effect monster your opponent controls and negate it while this card is face up on the field. So it's kind of a Fiendish chain, but through a monster, and it also puts pressure on your opponent, and you can negate effects in their main phase, or sorry, in their turn. I might use this probably against Monarch decks, say to negate an Idia or Erebus earlier in their turn, or even one of the Monarchs if I need to, but then they can kind of run over it, so that's not too great for that. And then we've got 2 more cards. Super Quantals gave us this card here, Super Quantal Mech Beast Ouroboros. It cannot attack unless it has an XE material. Once per turn, you can detach 1 XE material from this card and target 1 other face-up monster and change it to face-down defense position. It's basically a Book of Moon, and this can be activated in either player's turn. And I think that's really, really useful. You'll be able to stop certain plays with your opponents. It shuts down or puts pressure on synchros. I don't know how well it will work against pendulums, but it might be useful against certain monsters in that. And it can work against Monarchs in a way if you are quick enough to be, or they're not going to be able to get rid of your monster. And you can even work in a defensive way where you can turn, target. No, you can't target yourself to put it down on the field. So it's not as good as Book of Moon, but it's quite close there. So I think this monster could be useful. Plus, it's also a win monster and gets buffed by Harpie Lady number 1. And last but not least, we've got Ice Beast Seraphine, a water-based wing beast monster. Really, really strange for them to be a water-based wing beast monster. How this card works is, once per turn, you can detach 1 XE material from this card, negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls, and if you do, this card gains 300 attack for each face-up card currently on the field except this card. These effects are applied until your next standby phase. I think that is really, really good. You are kind of doing a skill drain to your opponent only by negating all face-up cards they control. It it stops. I don't know what specifically it can stop, but I think it is really useful. I feel like I can get a lot of use out of this card. I will find out more when I do more testing. And that's it, what I have for the ranked monsters. If you guys think I should have any different ranked monsters in this deck, do let me know, and I will be more than happy to take on feedback. But that's what I've got for the time being, and I'll let you know how it works throughout the rest of the week. Now, in the side deck, this isn't my side deck, but these are all different cards which I thought might be useful in this deck, but didn't quite make the cut. And I want to share this with you guys. If you guys have any particular experience in using these cards or any opinions on how well they can work in the current meta, let me know, and I will keep my eye out for them and maybe try them out as I keep on testing this deck. So I've got more copies of Icarus Attack. I think Icarus Attack could be really useful for the same reason why Twin Twister is useful in this format. It destroys 2 cards on the field, and unlike Twin Twister, it doesn't have to just destroy spell or trap cards. It can destroy any 2 cards on the field, my side or my opponent's side. I'm tempted to run more copies of this in the main deck, and yeah, I am really tempted to add more copies of this. I just don't know what to take out for it. Bottomless is really good. Vanity's Emptiness is still kind of good. Maybe I will swap Vanity's Emptiness for this one. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, I'm not really sure. I would like to add more copies of Icarus Attack. Maybe if the search engine doesn't really work for getting anti-spell out early, I might just have to be a bit more defensive and run more removal cards. But we'll see. I definitely want to get more Icarus Attack in there. Then we got the variety of Mirror Forces, including the original Mirror Force, which I haven't included. Original Mirror Force destroys all face-up attack position monsters my opponent controls. Storming Mirror Force returns them to my opponent's hand. Radiant Mirror Force destroys them all as long as they control 3 or more attack position monsters. I don't think I'll be using Radiant Mirror Force over the original Mirror Force, so I'm not really sure about that one anyway. Burying Mirror Force. This was a tech card which was out, which I read in a report or an article from a recent regionals, and I heard this card actually really hurts Burning Abyss decks. The reason why this card works really well is when your opponent declares an attack, you change all attack position monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position. Now, if you're playing against an opponent that doesn't run, say, tribute monsters, and maybe they're running more synchro or maybe pendulum decks, they're not going to be able to get those monsters off the field quite easily, and so you can kind of clog their field by forcing them to run a lot of face down cards. Now, it might not work so well in this Harpie deck because this Harpie deck will have to still destroy those monsters in their own time, but it can be a really good stalling card. I think Burying Mirror Force might be seeing more play as a tech card in the future. I just haven't added it into the main deck yet. Time Space Trap Hole. Time Space Trap Hole is good for stopping opponents from special summoning from their hand or extra deck. It's really great against pendulums for swarming the field. The only thing is that every time you shuffle a monster into the deck, you pay 1,000 life points, so it is a bit costly, but I hear this deck card is very popular right now. Then we got Compulsory Evacuation Device, which moved from the main deck into this side here. I don't know how well CED works still in this day and age. If it's still good, I might put it back in, but at this time, I don't really know if it's really too useful right now. It's probably still as good as it was before, but just people are so good at swarming monsters these days. Dimensional Prison. I would love to have more efforts or put more efforts into banishing more monsters. I think banishing is the way to go, except if you're playing against Cosmos, then banishing doesn't really work too well against them. But other decks can get really hurt by banishing, so having more cards which banish my opponent's monsters would be good. The only reason why Deep Prison isn't in the main deck is because it isn't mass removal, it's single, so hasn't made the cut yet. Solemn Strike. This is a very popular card which everyone is trying to run. Solemn Strike negates a special summon or a monster effect, and just for the cost of 1,500 life points. It's very versatile, it's very good. I just haven't found space in my deck yet to how to use it. If this search engine with all the upstarts and chicken game and terraforming and maybe even 1 copy of Harpie's Hunting Ground doesn't work out, I might take out all of those cards, add in a whole playset of Solemn Strike, and then in maybe some another Icarus Attack so I have more monster removal, but we'll see how it goes. Solemn Scolding, similarly like Solemn Strike, can only be the only set card in your spell or trap zone, and when a monster is summoned or when a spell, trap card or monster effect is activated, you can pay 3,000 life points to negate and destroy it. A very good effect. It is basically like Solemn Judgment, but has kind of a higher cost to it, because you can't set any other cards on the field, but I think that could also be useful in the main deck with Solemn Strike. It's just very costly, and we'll see how it goes. Shared Ride. Shared Ride is basically a spell version of Max C. After this card resolves, each time your opponent adds cards from their deck or graveyard to their hand this turn, except by drawing them, you immediately draw one card. So I think that's really good for those first turn traps, or maybe second turn for coming against your opponent with Max C, so that you can gain some cards in advantage if your opponent is going to be rapidly special summoning. I'll talk about Swallow's Nest in a minute, but I think Swallow's Nest could work really well here. Effect Veiler, I would love to find room for Effect Veiler. I would really love to find room for the following cards. I would really love to find space for Summoner Monk in this deck. I think Summoner Monk would be excellent for more rank 4 plays in this deck. The extra deck is really vital to this deck here, so doing more rank 4 plays would be awesome. I would also love to add Instant Fusion with Elder Norden in here, so I could do more rank 4s. I've just got to find the room for it, and it really comes down to how well or how much I am going to need the extra deck in the current format. Something else I would really love to add to this deck, however, is Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds has a simple effect, and no monsters can be special summoned except for wind monsters. It's basically a monster version of Vanity's Emptiness. It's not a perfect card. Wind monsters can still be special summoned, although I don't know really how popular wind monsters are special summoned in this day and age besides a Harpie's deck. So I think it still could work quite well as an anti-meta card in there. It only has 1000 attack, but it's enough to stun your opponent for a turn or so. And if I could fit it in with Swallow's Nest, I could even search it out of my deck by tributing one of these monsters and then searching out one of these cards to shut down some special monsters, some special summons in this in a duel or so. So I would really love to run this in there. I think there's a lot of potential overall for the Harpie Lady deck in this format, and I am going to be doing some duels. Later on today you're going to see a video of myself playing on DevPro, and then throughout this week I'm going to be uploading more videos of myself playing on DevPro, and hopefully by the end of this week I will have a deck profile of what I think is a really good Harpie deck in 2016, but we'll see how it goes. Alright guys, well thank you for watching this. If you have any personal thoughts or opinions on this video, please do let me know down in the comments. If you've got any suggestions, I'm always open to ideas, so please do let me know. And yeah, let's go Harpie Ladies. Thank you for watching this guys, I'll see you soon. Take care.